Hello everyone, it's Freya here from Avon Wildlife Trust, and this is our last video for you before the end of the year. And we're deep in the winter now. Things are feeling cold and the days are starting to get shorter. So you might have noticed that it's getting dark really early in the afternoon now, maybe when you're going home from nursery. And at this time of year, for hundreds of years, people have celebrated the shortest day of the year when it gets dark so early. So one way of celebrating this time of year is by making decorations that you might hang in your house, or you might hang in the trees outside in your garden or in your local green space. And I've made a few different decorations that I'm going to show you how to make today, so you could make some of your own. Over here, we've got a couple of different beautiful decorations that also help the birds. So this one is a bird feeder made of popcorn and cheese, which is very good for birds in the winter, and apple. And I've threaded it on a piece of wool, so we can have a go at that one. This one here is another special decoration that really helps the birds out in the winter. This one, can you see what I've made this one of? It's an apple. And into it I've stuck lots and lots of sunflower seeds. And this one also has a handy stick so the birds can rest there while they're having a nibble. And over here, these decorations aren't so helpful for the birds, but they just look beautiful for a short amount of time. And these are made just from water and from some special things that I've collected from out in nature. Some beautiful leaves, all different colours. And I've made mine in my freezer. But if it gets cold enough this winter, you might be able to make them by just leaving them outside overnight. So let's go and have a look at all the things you need to make these special decorations. So to make your icicle decorations, the first thing that you need to do is to collect some beautiful pieces from out in nature. So I've got some lovely autumn leaves in yellows and greens there, and a nice little brown oak leaf, and a couple of flowers that I found to give some colour. And you need something to make the shape of your icicles. So I've got these little pots that were from yogurt, I think, but you could use anything round or a different shape that could contain and freeze the water for you. And you need some string. I'm using wool. So I'm going to place my leaves and pieces of nature into my little pots. You could also use plastic yogurt pots, and then you could cut the plastic off from around the icicle afterwards. So I'm going to place my special pieces into my pots to make that one a very green icicle. And then I've got some water in this jug, and I'm going to pour it in so it's at least a centimetre deep from the bottom, maybe a little bit more, so that it covers up most of your leaves and your flowers. And then I'm going to take my wool and I'm going to make sure that I pop that in to the water as well, so that once it's frozen, I've got something to hang my icicles up with. So I'll pop them in like that. And then you could either leave these outside overnight if it's really cold this winter, and you could come out in the morning and see if they'd frozen, which would be exciting. Or you can pop them in your freezer if you have one and have a look at them the next morning. And to take them out of their pots, you need to run them under a little bit of warm water to loosen up the ice once it's frozen. and then you should be able to tip them out and hang them up on your tree. Now, to make your apple bird feeder, you're going to need an apple, and I've got lots of these in my garden because there's an apple tree above me. And you're going to need some sunflower seeds, and you can buy these from the supermarket or your local grocery store, but these ones have their shells on and they're specially for the birds, and you can buy them online. You're going to need a stick, which is for the birds to perch on while they're having a munch on your feeder, and you're going to need some string to hang it up with and something to make a hole in the middle of your apple. So I'm going to start by making a hole in the middle of my apple, and you'll need a grown-up to help you do this bit. So I'm going to put it in the middle of the apple and push all the way down till it comes out the other side. And then you see there's a hole all the way down the middle. I'm going to take my string and I'm going to tie it onto my stick so it's in the middle of my string, like that. And then you've got to get the string all the way through the middle of the apple, and that's a bit tricky. So I'm hoping this pencil is going to help me to do that. So you might get a bit wet and sticky from the apple. Let's see. There we go. My strings come through the other side. And you can see that the stick is now attached onto the bottom of the apple. So I'm going to tie that in a knot at the top so I can hang it onto the tree. And then I'm going to use these sunflower seeds. Take a few out there. And you look carefully at them, you'll see they're very pointy on one end. So I'm going to use that pointy end to stick into the apple. And this can take a little bit of time because they're very small and fiddly. So you just need to cover your apple in as many sunflower seeds as you can. And you just go round and round until the apple is all covered, and then it's ready to hang in your tree. Now, to make your bird feeder necklace that you can hang in your tree, you're going to need these things. You're going to need some popcorn. So you'll need to get a grown-up to help you make some popcorn. And it's better to cook the popcorn fresh rather than buy some in a packet, so that it doesn't have lots of salt and sugar on it, which isn't so good for the birds. So I've made some popcorn here. And in my bird feeder necklace, I'm also going to use some chunks of cheese. And cheese is really fatty, and that gives the birds lots of good energy over the winter when there isn't so much about for them to eat. And I'm also going to use some more apple in this bird feeder too. So you're then going to need a needle, and I've got one that's got a big eye or a hole that makes it easier to thread your wool. So I'm going to thread my wool through the needle. Said it would be easy. Oops. There we go. And then, so together with your grown-up, you can use your needle, and do be careful because it's very sharp. And I've already cut up my apple, but you'll need to do that together as well to be very careful. So you can then take your needle, and together with your grown-up, you can thread on some pieces of popcorn. Sometimes they fall apart, so just try and find some big pieces that aren't going to fall apart. And you can thread on some pieces of cheese. And I like to do a few bits of popcorn, then a piece of cheese, and maybe a bit more popcorn. And then I'll do a piece of apple. And you want to keep going until you've made a beautiful bird feeder necklace that you can hang up in your tree. So once you've made your icicle decorations, you can watch and see how long they take to disappear, to all melt away. Depends how cold the weather is. And once you've made your bird feeder decorations, these different types, you can sit and watch to see if some birds come down to feed from them. It would be really great if you make any of these decorations, if you take some photos and pop them on our My Wild Child Facebook page. We'd love to see what you get up to at this time of year to decorate the trees in your garden or somewhere near your house. Hope you have fun making your decorations and have a lovely winter break. Bye!